नमस्ते। शुक्लां विचार सार परमामध्यं जगद्व्यापिनीं वीणा पुस्तकधारिणीं भयदां जड्यान्धकारापहम् हस्ते स्फाटिकमालिकां विदधति पद्मासने संस्थितां वन्दे तां परमेश्वरी भगवती बुद्धिप्रदां शारदाम्। Respected dignitaries, esteemed speakers, session chair experts, research scholars, professionals, and dear participants. We begin this auspicious academic gathering with a prayer invoking wisdom, clarity, and collective harmony. In the spirit of Bharat's Gurukul tradition, we bow to knowledge as sacred and transformative power. May this conference become a confluence of intellect, ethics, and national purpose. Vedant Knowledge Systems has consistently worked toward translating the vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047 into academic action. This conference is part of Vedant's continuing international series dedicated to integrating Indian knowledge systems, National Education Policy 2020 reforms, research innovation, and value-based education. Each edition of this series strengthens the bridge between Bharat's civilizational wisdom and global academic excellence. It gives us immense pride to welcome you to the 5th International Conference titled Reimagining Higher Education in 21st Century, an inclusive way towards Viksit Bharat via NEP 2020 and Indian Knowledge System. This conference is not merely an academic event, it is a national dialogue. As India advances towards 2047, higher education requires to become inclusive, multidisciplinary, ethical, and globally competent, while remaining deeply rooted in Bharatiya knowledge traditions. Through discussions on NEP 2020, Indian knowledge systems, inclusive learning frameworks, and global best practices, this conference aims to reimagine higher education as a vehicle for national development, social harmony, and global leadership. We now present a special video compilation of goodwill messages and blessings received from distinguished leaders. Their blessings and encouragement strengthen this academic movement towards Viksit Bharat. Let us watch the video. Dear friends, Vedant's mission is to align education, research, and innovation with the vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047. Through conferences, publications, faculty development, youth engagement, and knowledge dissemination, Vedant works to integrate Indian knowledge systems with modern academic framework. Vedant believes education is beyond degrees and it must shape character, leadership, innovation, and social responsibility. Education must become seva. Knowledge must become nation building. Each one of you become a partner in this national mission. You can contribute through research aligned with NEP 2020, integration of IKS in curriculum design, mentorship of youth, policy dialogue, community outreach, and interdisciplinary collaborations. Together we can transform classrooms into centers of national awakening. On behalf of Vedant Knowledge Systems Private Limited, I extend a heartfelt welcome to all our distinguished speakers, session chair experts, awardees, researchers, academicians, professionals, students and media representatives. Your presence transformed this conference into a vibrant intellectual conference dedicated to inclusive national growth. Education thrives when excellence is celebrated. We now move to the announcement of awards and recognitions. In this conference, the Young Scientist Award goes to Dr. Indrajit Acharya from West Bengal in recognition of outstanding research contributions and academic promise aligned with national priorities. Congratulations Dr. Acharya for this prestigious award. The next awards are the Best Research Paper Award, which is conferred in 3 categories. In the Educator category, the Best Research Paper Award is conferred upon Dr. M. Sarvajanik, who is an Assistant Professor with Annamalai University. Congratulations Dr. Sarvajanik. In the Research Scholar category, the Best Research Paper Award is conferred upon Jyoti Misra. She is Research Scholar with Maharaja Ganga Singh University, Bikaner. Congratulations Jyoti Misra ji. In the Students category, the Best Research Paper Award is conferred upon Soni Miswa Dawal. She is PG Scholar at Indian Institute of Teachers Education, Gandhinagar. Congratulations Miswa. We congratulate all awardees for their dedication to scholarship and nation building. Dear friends, it is my proud privilege to introduce our distinguished keynote speaker and special guest, Professor Dr. Pratapsinh Chauhan Sahib, an eminent academic administrator and scholar of international repute. Professor Dr. Chauhan currently serves as the Vice Chancellor of Bhakt Kavi Narsingh Mehta University, Junagadh, and has previously served with distinction as Vice Chancellor of Saurashtra University, Rajkot, and for 2 terms at Sri Govind Guru University, Godhra. His leadership journey reflects deep administrative experience and visionary academic governance. A specialist in finance and accounting, Professor Chauhan holds a PhD in commerce and is a double gold medalist, reflecting academic brilliance from the very beginning of his career. He has received international recognition including awards for Best Research Paper at global conferences in Dubai and Kuala Lumpur. His academic excellence was further enriched through a faculty development program at the prestigious Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. He has delivered over 50 keynote addresses at national and international forums and has served on important bodies including NEC Executive Committee, contributing significantly to quality assurance in higher education. With his rich academic insight, administrative experience and commitment to excellence, Professor Dr. Chauhan brings immense value to this conference dedicated to reimagining higher education for Viksit Bharat. We now invite you to watch the keynote address by Professor Dr. Pratapsinh Chauhan Sahib as he shares his thoughts on higher education leadership, research culture and the pathway toward academic excellence in the 21st century. Let's hear Professor Chauhan.
कोटि कोटि वंदन कोटि कोटि वंदन
સોરઠ ધરા સોહામણી જ્યાં સંત થયા અનેક એ સંતોમાં ભક્ત અનોખા નરસિંહ મહેતા એક જે આવા કૃષ્ણ ભક્ત નરસૈયાની નગરી છે જે શિવ શક્તિની નગરી છે જે આસ્થા અને ઇતિહાસની સાક્ષી છે તે નગરી છે જૂનાગઢ જ્યાં ગર્વિષ્ઠ ગિરનાર છે જ્યાં પ્રકૃતિ પાંગરી છે જ્યાં ગુજરાતના પનોતા પુત્ર અને દેશના દીર્ઘદ્રષ્ટા માનનીય વડાપ્રધાન શ્રી નરેન્દ્રભાઈ મોદીનું વિશ્વવિદ્યાલય સ્થાપિત કરવાનું સ્વપ્ન થયું છે સાકારિત તે સ્થળ એટલે જૂનાગઢ અને તે વિશ્વવિદ્યાલય એટલે ભક્ત કવિ નરસિંહ મહેતા યુનિવર્સિટી.
Vedant Knowledge System Private Limited organized the 5th International Multidisciplinary Virtual Conference, particularly in the Reimagining Higher Education in 21st Century, an inclusive way towards the Viksit Bharat via NEP 2020 and Indian Knowledge System is going to schedule on 27-28. I must congratulate to the organizer because the topic they have selected related to Viksit Bharat concerned to the higher education policy we can call a National Education Policy 2020 and particular concern to the Indian knowledge system, how it is appropriate, how it is connected to NEP and Indian knowledge system, and both the way where India is at the time of 100 years of our freedom and our Honorable Prime Minister, respected Narendra Bhai Modi, has a dream about the Viksit Bharat at 2047. The organizer has selected the Reimagining the higher education institutions in 21st century towards the NEP 2020 and Indian knowledge system. So dear friend, first of all we have to see the higher education system in the country, where very close to 1300 universities are working in the different part of the country. They classified in the four category mostly: the central university, state university, deemed university and private university. These are the 1300 universities that are working in the country and categorized in the four ways: central, state, private and deemed. Mostly in the private university concept is coming in the last decade and they are managing the 15% volume of the nation level. So we have 1300 universities, very close to 50,000 higher education institutions working under the government, aided and private and self-finance basis. We have very close to 43 million students in the higher education. And that's why our Honorable Prime Minister has given a new draft we can call NEP 2020. It means the grassroots level to state and state to federal. That way they have collected all inputs for the betterment of this higher education and school education, middle education, and how and what way we can develop our skill base as students and teachers. And that's why all inputs we have collected from the every level of the grassroots level to top level, and we have prepared a draft that is known as a NAP 2020. It means in the 2020, the time of Corona, we have published the draft, and that is a National Education Policy 2020. Whatever the policy we have framed, and now in 2026, so we have a very half a decade experience about the NEP 2020 and Indian knowledge system. Basically, our Indian higher education system is based on mostly in the western part of the world. And that's why our curriculum, our student-centric, our teacher, our research, our infrastructure, our structure, mostly it is based on UK and America. But basically we need, because Indian students, Indian structure, Indian culture for organization is different compared to Europe and America. That's why our Honorable Prime Minister of India has given the task to Kasturi Nandanji to develop the NEP 2020 for Indianization of higher education. Indianization of higher education means that basically what is the need and a skill-based need of our organization and industry that we have to develop in our own campuses. But unfortunately, after the 1947 to 2020, means many years, mostly we modified, added all the commission for higher education and education policy, including the Kothari Commission to all commissions, based on the Western higher education system. But it is the first time after the 34 years of the period 1986 to onward, we have developed our own draft, how our primary education to PG education is based on our local needs, requirements. And local needs and requirement we have to satisfy and address. That's why we need our own education system. Our own education system is basically based on the Gurukul system. In the early day, in the before the 5,000 years, up to the 15th century, the India has a dominant in the higher education and education field. You go through the history and the data, the Nalanda and Taxila, every corner of the world people come to the India for learning the spiritual knowledge, yoga knowledge, then the anatomy knowledge, the human psychology we can understand, and particularly in the Gita. The Gita interaction with the Krishna and Arjun, it is also a story of a human psychology, strategy, management, plan, and organized way. It is the modern management is still a management. But our initial literature, it is already given everything. Whatever we today we discuss in the modern management, these are the all fundamental the reviews, fundamental knowledge that is available in our structure, our religions, our initial knowledge, and now we can tell it is the Indian knowledge system. Now our Honorable Prime Minister of India has a dream of Viksit Bharat at 2047. So I will give you a little bit of view about how and what way our economies grow in the last decade and what is happening in the next 25 years and what way we have to walk and how our education institution has to driven a curriculum. That curriculum is providing the skill-based resources to all over the world. So that's why I have to discuss the economy area. When our Honorable Prime Minister has taken the charge in 2014, at that time our economy was very close to 2.17 trillion, means very close to $2 trillion economy. Within this one decade, the two-term government has done a lot of effort in the different area, in the infrastructures, agriculture, manufacturing, and service and utility sectors reform. Now in the 2024, our economy is very close to double, $4.18 trillion. It means a double, 4 trillion plus economy has developed. Now in all over the world, when the Narendra Modi ji has taken the charge, at that time our economy was the 10th largest economy in the world. But now in the 2026, we are the 4th largest economy in the world. It means we have cut down the 6 steps out of 10 a most dominant economy in the world. And our emerging market is in the last 20 years, our GDP is increasing gradually more than 7%. If this continue in 2030, and every variable is very common and stable, then our economy will be very close to $7-8 trillion. If our economy is $7-8 trillion, then we will be the 3rd largest economy in the world after the America, China and India. Now the world work order is changed. Early day, it was the America days. Before that, the Second World War, the British and Europe is the dominating in the world. Now is America is the dominating the world. The two player is, the emerge, China and India. China is very close to $20 trillion economy. We are $4.5 trillion economy now. Basically, the difference between the two countries, they have started the priority sector reform in the 90s and 80s. India has started after the Manmohan Singh was the finance minister. At that time, he started the reform for the Indian economy. And the 3 equations he has given, liberalization, privatization and globalization. At that time, our forex reserve for 15 days only. We were at the critical stage in the country. But that tenure, 91 to 2000, the government has managed well and reformed our industry. Now our industry is a combination of GDP is different compared to the developed nation. Our GDP basically 65% coming from the service sector and utility sectors. 18% GDP is coming from the agriculture sectors. and 17% GDP is coming from the manufacturing sector. So 65, 18 and 17, it means 100% GDP coming from the three different areas. These are the stages where we have to modify, increase our contribution in the GDP more and more in manufacturing. Every year we need 120 crore jobs. It means 1 crore 20 lakhs new job every year to our industry. Agriculture sector is already exhaust. Service sector is not providing the new job. Only we have an option is a manufacturing sectors. Now coming to the another data related to the Chinese economy. Chinese economy is a $20 trillion economy. Out of this $20 trillion economy, the 1/3 part of the GDP is coming from the manufacturing sectors. It means the 33% GDP contribute from the manufacturing. $20 trillion into 33%, it means very close to $6-7 trillion. GDP is basically coming from the manufacturing, and it is a competitive advantage for Chinese economy. But we can learn in the last 6-7 years from the Chinese economy. The GDP was in the last 30-40 years in the double digit of the Chinese economy. But we observed in the last 5-6 years after the COVID period, the GDP is now reducing in a single digit. 4-5% GDP is working now in the Chinese economy. But due to the corona and all these factors, the Indian economy is working today is very close to 7%. It means the Indian economy is still very powerful so far as the GDP is concerned. So Viksit Bharat 2017, at the time of that, we have to reimaging our higher education institution. What type of skill is needed to the Indian economy? What type of extra skill we need for the global? And how and what way we can accommodate 1 crore 20 lakhs new job for our industry and outside of the industry. That is a big challenge for the Indian higher education institution in the 21st century. And that's why the organizer has given me the topic is the 5th International Multidisciplinary Virtual Reimaging the Higher Education Institution in 21st Century towards the NEP 2020 and Indian knowledge system. How we accommodate all these variables, Indian knowledge system, where basically the knowledge we have already available in the ancient literature of our Gita, Ramayana, Vidurniti, Shukraniti, whatever the literature is available in the last 5,000 years, that literature we have to accommodate with the modern, the management and modern science and pure science and social science and humanities. If we accommodate this Indian knowledge system with the modern, the new curriculum, and on the basis of that we develop the skill, and that skill is not only for the Indianization, but Indianization of higher education, and that need is we provide to a globe. That is the ultimate challenge for the higher education institution in a 2021st century, means 2026. We have a very big, huge infrastructure in our a grassroots level to the federal level. We have very close to 43 million students. It means 4 crore 32 lakh students available in the higher education. And you see in the world order of economy is changed. Early day, the America, British, Japan, Korea and Europe, they are the dominant country in the world. But you see in the aging of Europe and UK, they are old age people are there. At the same time, Japan is also old. The average age of Japan is 38. America is very close to 35, 36 years. China is going too old because they have changed the policy of one child to two child now. And GDP is also reducing in the last 5, 6, 7 years. India has a competitive advantage now. But government is not alone do everything. That's why we need our higher education institution to build up the system, curriculum, the strategy, the global strategy, not only a skilled force provide to the Indians industry and organization, but we provide a global citizen. Our student is a global citizen, not going to study in the Europe and America. We develop the campuses here that provide a basic skill-based and knowledge system, and that is concerned to our Indian knowledge system, accommodate with the NEP 2020, give a freedom to our students, choice to our students, choice-based credit system we adopt, and whatever the resources is there, that resources we accommodate for the global citizen of our Indian students. If we manage, then we reimaging our higher education institution for 21st century. And Viksit Bharat at 2047, it means within this 25 years is a period for the Indian students, our higher education institutions. If we do a well-managed, skill-based workforce to globe, then nobody can stop. India will be the Viksit Bharat. At that time, the 2047, our GDP is very close to 18 to 20 trillion dollar. At that time, the world work order is also changed. Now today, the America is dominating in the globe, and maybe in the 2047, China will be the first, America will be the second, and India will be the third. Very close to America, the Indian economy will be the powerful economy in the world, because we have 150 crore people are there in the country. We provide a lot of patents and copyrights and trademarks, innovative ideas, and the GDP is now a $4.5 trillion economy that will be rich to 7-8, and then the double is very close to 17-18 trillion dollar at the time of 2047. Because of our history, 2014 to 2024, our GDP was double, $2.17 trillion to $4.5 trillion economy. It means the Indian economy is a potential economy in the world. And that's why the highest growth rate emerging market is the Indian economy is a very, so far as the GDP is concerned, we are the top level GDP in the world. So that's why the AI, artificial intelligence, robotic, machine learning, these are the curriculum we have to develop the new requirement for the industry. Now today, you can go through the for a big company in the US, the Meta, Facebook, Google, Amazon, they have AI budget is very close to $650 billion. The budget for AI. Our economy is very close to $690 billion of Indian economy, means the 53.5 lakhs crores, our central budget. Whatever our budget is today, $4.5 trillion budget, that budget is required for the AI for the 4 company of the USA. So our company, our structure, our culture, our work culture, everything we have to do in the global way. If we do in the global way, then in the next 25 years, India will be the lead to the globe. And at that time, nobody can stop if we manage very well in the AI, robotic and machine learning, data analytics, and the new avenue is start for the curriculum development. And NEP 2020 with Indian knowledge system provide an opportunity, a freelance courses, skill-based courses where our student is needed for the global citizens. That is going to happening. Whatever the best practice in the global level is adopted and they address the global issues the same way our higher education institution in country has to do in the global standards and maintain the global standards. If we are not learning new things from the global best practices already happening in the Cambridge or Harvard or the Princeton University, MIT or any best university in the world, whatever the good things happening in the world, that we have to adopt as early as possible. And whatever the best practices available in our own system, we, the strengthening our system in our higher education institution. So we concern to skill, curriculum, new innovative recent development, and last but not least, that is employability. Because our graduates are not employable in the market. That is the big, the challenges for Indian graduates. Indian graduate is only a 24% employable in the market. It means 76% the students are not employable as per the needs of the local industry, services and organization. And one data is indicating our professional, 65% professional are not employable. It means the placement is only at 35% in our professional students. These are the variable that we have to address in our higher education institution in the next 25 years. Our institute should stand up with the global institute, not only local needs, what we provide to our industry. Our institution, higher education institute, not only IIT and IIMs, they also suffered a big problem in the global ranking is concerned. My dear friend, we have 1,300 university, but not a single university is there in the top 100 best university in the globe. That is the big challenge for our higher education institution. In the next 25 years, how many institutes we add in the top 100 universities, best university in the globe or not? If we manage a few universities, few higher education institutions, IIT and IIMs, Indian Institute of Science, we add in the top 100 best university in the globe, then nobody can stop the Viksit Bharat at 2047. So whatever the organizer has given me an opportunity to express my feeling concerned to the Viksit Bharat at 2047 and reimagining the higher education institution in 21st century with the NEP 2020 and Indian knowledge system. Thank you very much. Bharat Mata Ki Jai, Vande Mataram.
The team Vedant express our sincere gratitude to Professor Dr. Pratapsinh Chauhan Sahib for his insightful and inspiring keynote address. Your reflections on academic leadership, quality enhancement, and institutional transformation will continue to guide and motivate us in our journey toward Viksit Bharat at 2047. Thank you, Professor Chauhan, for honoring this conference with your esteemed presence. Thank you, sir. Moving forward towards thought-provoking speeches of our esteemed speakers. Now, let me take this honor to introduce Dr. Shailendra Pandey, Principal of Sarvajanik Commerce College, Godhra, Gujarat, as the keynote expert in this meaningful event. Dr. Pandey is widely recognized as one of the finest speakers in the domains of literature and Indian knowledge systems. His academic and research contributions have benefited thousands of students and multiple academic institutions. A humble scholar and an engaging thinker, he brings rare depth and clarity to discussions on education reform, cultural foundation, and inclusive growth. We now present the keynote address by Dr. Shailendra Pandey.
Good morning. Today, in the 5th International Virtual Multidiscipline Conference on Reimagining Higher Education in the 21st Century, an inclusive way towards Viksit Bharat via NEP 2020 and IKS. I'm thankful to the organizers for giving me an opportunity to speak on this topic. The topic is really the most modern, though it has already been discussed topic after the inclusion of NEP 2020. So today I'm going to talk about the concepts and the objectives which has been taken into consideration to reimagine India's higher education system in alignment with transformative vision of NEP 2020 and Viksit Bharat 2047, ensuring that learning becomes holistic, multidisciplinary, and future ready. So the objectives which has been mentioned by the organizing committee is really a wonderful topic. So I'm going to talk about how, first of all, we will discuss how we'll take introductory part, and in that we will talk about how there is the need of this kind of topic. Indian knowledge system means the old and the traditional knowledge that was developed in India over many years. In easy words, IKS is how people in ancient India understood the world and found ways to live better life. This knowledge was shared from one generation to another generation. This knowledge, as I have told you, that this knowledge was shared from one generation to another, sometimes by speaking and sometimes by writing in old languages like Sanskrit. IKS represents a massive source of indigenous knowledge that spans diverse areas such as philosophy, traditional medicine, yoga, Vedic, mathematics, literature, music, art, agriculture, architecture, environmental practices, and spirituality. Rooted in Indian ancient texts and practices, IKS offers holistic approaches for understanding life, nature, and the cosmos. Despite its richness and relevance, it has often been overlooked in modern education, particularly at undergraduate level in colleges, where Western educational paradigms dominate curricula. The roots of Indian knowledge system go back thousands of years, even before written history. It's very interesting. This knowledge started during the Vedic period, when people began observing nature, the stars, the human body and daily life very closely. They shared their ideas through spoken words, which later got written down in texts like Vedas, Upanishads, and other ancient scriptures. Over time, Indian thinkers, scientists, and scholars made many discoveries. Visionaries like Aryabhatta, who was his vision on astronomy and mathematics. Then Charka, who has talked about medicine. Sushruta, who has talked about surgery. And Panini, the great grammarian in Sanskrit literature, Sanskrit language, laid the foundation of an extraordinary intellectual tradition. This vast knowledge system, often referred to as flourished across countries and centuries, evolving through the Mauryan and the Gupta eras and reaching remarkable heights at institutions like Nalanda, Takshashila, which drew scholars from across the globe. India is known as a Jnana Bhumi, that is the land of knowledge, is the cradle of rich intellectual heritage spanning philosophy, science, art, medicine, and spirituality. The Indian knowledge system serves as a structured framework rather than mere tradition, deeply rooted in texts like Vedas, Upanishads, and Natya Shastra. However, colonial rule marginalized these systems, replacing them with Eurocentric paradigms that fostered a sense of inferiority. Decolonizing the Indian mind entails reviving ideas, reshaping attitudes toward knowledge, and reclaiming India's global intellectual identity. So this was just an introductory part. Now I would like to focus on key principles of IKS. As you all know, the Ministry of Human Resource Development, they have circulated some principles which are very important that can be termed as key principles of IKS. So I would like to talk about the key principles of IKS. The fundamental principles are emphasized by the Indian knowledge system division under the Ministry of Education are as below. The first which I would like to tell here is that can be called parampara, which can be called the tradition or the continuity. Now, parampara upholds the unbroken lineage of knowledge passed down through generations, emphasizing oral tradition, texts, and life practices. The second thing which is very important in this is key principle is drashti, which can be called the perspective or the world view. Drashti promotes uniquely Bharatiya lens to interpret reality, integrating a spiritual, ecological, and scientific insights to address contemporary challenges. It is a perspective to look at the things in a different way. The third key principle which I would like to talk about is Laukik Prayojan. That is called practical utility, which is very important nowadays also. Laukik Prayojan focused on applying traditional wisdom to solve modern problems in the areas like health, agriculture, architecture, and education. So this can be very important. So these are the broader key principles. Now there are some more broader principles which can be holistic approach. Now what is the importance of holistic approach in Indian knowledge system? Indian knowledge system believes in looking at the whole picture. It doesn't separate body, mind, and soul. Everything relates to health, nature, education, and daily life. So this can be considered as a very important aspect. Now, second thing is harmony with nature. Ancient Indians believed that we should live in balance with nature. They respected rivers, they respected animals, trees, and the environment, and used natural resources very carefully. The third thing which I would like to find out here is value-based learning. Indian knowledge system gives importance to values like truth, kindness, discipline, and respect. Learning was not just about books, but also about building good character. The next point which I would like to talk about is practical knowledge. The focus of IKS was on learning through experience, which is very important today. Whether it is framing, medicine, and art, students learn by doing, not just by reading. Spiritual and scientific. This is very important. Spiritual and scientific, they are together. In Indian knowledge system, is spiritual wisdom with science. It teaches that logic and belief can go hand in hand, and both are very important for balanced life. Now, the next point which I would like to talk about is self-realization. Many Indian philosophies taught that the goal of life is to understand yourself better and live with peace and purpose. Pluralism and inclusivity, which is again a very important topic. Indian knowledge system recognizes multiple ways of knowing, including diverse voices in women, Dalits, tribal groups, often marginalized in mainstream narratives. Community-centered. Knowledge is collectively held and transmitted through community, rituals, storytelling, and apprenticeship. And that's why we have seen in ancient age there was a Guru Shishya Parampara, and in that Guru Shishya Parampara you have been able to know about all these aspects. You have been able to know about the rituals, the storytelling, and apprenticeship. Now here for framing the syllabi or for talking about the methodology, I would like to talk about the methodology. Which methodology can be adopted over here? This study adopts a qualitative and descriptive research design, which is relying solely on secondary sources. It offers a comprehensive analysis of IKS through an in-depth review of existing literature from the policy documents of NEP 2020, Indian knowledge system curriculum frameworks, academic literature such as reviews, journals, reputable online resources, and government publications, and previous research on IKS integration. After talking about all these issues, we have to even talk about the government initiatives to promote IKS. This is very important because without the government initiatives, it is very difficult for us to promote IKS. So these are the ideas which I have taken from Press Information Bureau 2021. In recent years, the Indian government has taken several steps to bring Indian knowledge system back into focus. Now, why it is important that though the idea was already there, it was existing in our society, but its real initiative was taken by the government. The aim is to make students aware of India's rich knowledge tradition and to include Indian knowledge system in the modern education system. Some of the key initiatives that those were taken by the government officials are, first of all, is National Education Policy. The National Education Policy in NEP 2020 acknowledges the profound legacy of India's ancient timeless knowledge. Ancient and timeless knowledge is guiding principle for educational reform. The Indian knowledge comprises of Gnan, Vignan, and Jivan Darshan, very important, that have evolved out of experience, observation, experimentation, and rigorous analysis. It strongly supports the integration of IKS into schools and colleges curriculum. It encourages the students to learn about India's ancient wisdom alongside modern subjects. The second thing, which is IKS division under AICTE. The Ministry of Education has created a special division under AICTE, that is All India Council for Technical Education, called the Indian Knowledge System Divisions. This body works to promote research education and awareness about IKS in the schools, colleges and universities. It has launched 3 new initiatives, namely proposals for new IKS, competitive research proposals and student internship program at an online event conducted in the presence of AICTE member. Interested candidates and experts are invited to visit the website of IKS division for registration and for more information on the various initiatives of IKS division and its activities. IKS divisions and its activities. We will talk about the broader divisions and which kind of activities are initiated there. IKS Center. The IKS Center's program is designed to encourage and fund the setting up of IKS centers across the country with view to catalyze original research, education and dissemination of IKS knowledge. The goal of the IKS centers is to act as a catalyst for initiating research, education and outreach activities in various parts of the country. The next thing is competitive research proposals. The competitive grants program of the IKS is designed to encourage and fund research studies that will contribute to research mission of IKS division. Its goal is to make catalytic grants that encourage original, serious and deep scholarly investigations in IKS and rejuvenate IKS research in India. Student internship programs. There is a strong need to promote Indian knowledge system in country in traditional schools and educational institutions, which will be addressed by IKS internship programs. The program is designed to encourage youth to take up deeper study of various topics related to IKS. The focus is to create opportunities for students to contribute and be involved in active research during the summer breaks or anything during the year. The applications for internship are being solicited through countrywide open application process. Selected students will be paired with IKS experts who have vast experience in the field. The interns are expected to work on short research activities, workshops, etc., as suggested by the Indian Knowledge System Division in consultation with the experts. There is National Innovation Foundation. This has been a very important aspect because this Innovation Foundation works in a larger interest. NTF, that is National Innovation Foundation, upon the honeybee network philosophy, supports and encourages traditional knowledge and grassroots innovation across the length and breadth of the country and beyond boundaries by acknowledging public participation, creativity, and to urge to bring positive change in surroundings. For example, innovations like Mitti Cool, that is refrigerator, using traditional clay cooling techniques, indicate the importance of harmonizing IKS with modern technology to design sustainable solutions for rural communities. National Innovation Foundation is working closely with educational institutions, rural entrepreneurs, self-help groups, Panchayati Raj bodies, and more to instill a culture of innovation and ensure the welfare of the society. So I can say that National Innovation Foundation is a very good move in that direction. Institutional support. This is again a very important aspect, because without any institutional support, we can't go ahead in this movement. The establishment of dedicated institutions is essential for the systematic promotion of Indian knowledge system. The government can facilitate this by strengthening existing centers like Indian Institute of Science, Education and Research, National Institute of Ayurveda, to conduct Indian knowledge system related studies, encouraging private institutions to collaborate with public research bodies in Indian knowledge system, and setting up regional Indian knowledge system hubs that cater to specific traditional knowledge practices such as Vedic mathematics centers in northern India or Siddha medicine research institutions in Tamil Nadu. Funding and grants financial investment are crucial for research, curriculum development and teacher training in Indian knowledge system. The government can support this by allocating dedicated funds for Indian knowledge system research through agencies like University Grant Commission and the Indian Council of Historical Research, offering a scholarship and fellowships for students pursuing studies in traditional knowledge fields, and providing grants to school and colleges for setting up Indian knowledge system focused infrastructure such as Ayurvedic labs, Sanskrit learning centers and indigenous science research hubs. These are the very important moves in this direction. Now, again, a very important aspect we have to talk, and that is the inclusion of textbook and courses, which are very important. Again, why I'm telling this is important, because the textbook and the courses are very important to instill the idea. The National Council of Educational Research and Training, that is NCERT, had constituted a committee of 19 members to ensure integration of Indian knowledge system in new school textbook across subjects for class 3 to 12. The committee had to prepare documents in 3 languages, and that is Hindi, English and Urdu, and submit the syllabus to NCERT, National Syllabus and Teaching Learning Material Committee, that is NSTC. The timeline for submitting the final draft was of this kind of syllabus in textbook, teaching learning materials was way back December 31, 2023, and it has been submitted. The various final versions has also come on January 31 to 2024, which shows the continuous efforts of the government in this direction. NCERT set up panel for Indian knowledge system integration in book 2023. NCERT and other boards are gradually adding Indian knowledge system based topics to textbooks. Many universities have also introduced certificate and elective courses on subjects like Ayurveda, Vedic maths, yoga, Sanskrit and Indian philosophy. The next point which I would like to talk about is online learning and workshops. The government is actively encouraging universities to engage with and promote Indian knowledge system through wide range of academic and outreach initiatives. Regular webinars, online courses and workshops are being conducted to equip educators and the students with insights into various dimensions of Indian knowledge system in higher education. Progress has been steadily, and it is very significant that we have been able to visualize there are more than 53 Indian knowledge centers, Indian knowledge system centers have been established across the institutions. There are more than 100 research projects have been sanctioned. Over 5,000 internships have been facilitated. More than 100 faculty development programs, workshops and conferences have been organized. And more than 100 scholarly publications have been released. More than 2,500 books have been digitalized to preserve and disseminate traditional knowledge. The launch of IKS Wiki has created a collaborative digital repository. 75 plus educational videos and all India radio programs have been already produced. Trainings has been provided to more than 100 scholars, more than 1,500 UG PGS students and 2,500 teachers. Outreach efforts have impacted over 4 lakh members of general public. Activities have spanned more than 25 cities across 24 states, reflecting a truly national footprint. Now here I would like to talk about a very important aspect, that is role of teacher in integrating Indian knowledge system, because teacher is a key exponent in this field. Teachers serve as a vital between India's rich traditional knowledge and contemporary educational framework. As the frontline implementers of academic policy, they shape how students perceive and interact with the Indian knowledge system. The responsibilities of the teachers extend beyond traditional pedagogy and require them to incorporate culturally responsive teaching methodology that highlight the richness of Indian intellectual traditions. Curriculum adaptation by teachers must find creative ways to incorporate IKS into existing syllabi. This can be done through contextual examples, enrich lessons by connecting modern concepts to their ancient Indian origins. For instance, while teaching geometry, educators can introduce Bodleian's theorem and early articulation of the Pythagoras principle to highlight India's contribution to mathematics. Interdisciplinary approaches bridge disciplines by showcasing how traditional practices resonate with contemporary studies. Examples include aligning Ayurvedic principles with modern medical science or exploring ancient water management techniques to deepen understanding of environmental sustainability. Multilingual teaching celebrate India's linguistic richness by incorporating text in Sanskrit, Prakrit, and regional languages into subjects like literature, philosophy, and history. This is not only enhances comprehension but also fosters cultural pride and linguistic sensitivity. Now, there are some innovative pedagogy. Teachers must adopt innovative teaching strategies to make Indian knowledge system engaging and accessible for students. Some approaches include experimental learning, then storytelling and oral tradition, project-based learning, hands-on workshops, and professional development and capacity building. These are the very important things which the teachers can adopt. The first thing is experimental learning. Conducting field visits to historical sites, engaging the students in practical applications of ancient techniques such as metallurgy, pottery, traditional framing, in a storytelling and oral tradition, using epics, folk tales, and indigenous narratives to teach moral, philosophy, ethics, and history. Is learning, encouraging the students to conduct comparative research on ancient and modern approaches to subjects such as architecture, medicine, and astronomy. The students can be given hand-on workshops also, organizing practical sessions where the students learn yoga, Sanskrit chanting, traditional arts, and Ayurvedic remedies. For professional development, capacity building is again very important. To successfully integrate IKS, teachers themselves need continuous learning opportunities, and that requires specialized training programs, collaborating with the scholars, and the third thing is curriculum co-creation. So this will really work in a very larger interest of the students and even the teachers. Now, students' engagement and active learning, what we can do in that is teachers play a key role in fostering a student's appreciation for IKS, and effective engagement methods include encouraging research, debates and discussions, and then gamification. There's a very different kind of gamification is and interactive tools which can be designed using digital tools like augmented reality, the virtual reality, to create immersive learning experiences related to ancient Indian heritage and science. Mentorship and advocacy is again very important aspect. Teachers act as a mentors in shaping a student's career paths by highlighting career opportunities in IKS, connecting students with experts, advocating policy changes. Now here I'm not going into the details, but here I have to talk about some other aspects. I can also talk about the challenges. We'll talk about the challenges in later videos. Here I would like to conclude my presentation with some major aspects bringing in mind in the whole presentation. That is, Indian knowledge system includes tradition, understand their culture, learn important values, think creatively, and live in balanced ways by establishing an Indian knowledge system division under AICTE, offering new textbooks, research funds, and online workshops to help people realize its value. The Indian government is pushing IKS under NEP 2020. In recent years, universities and academic institutions across India have increasingly embraced Indian knowledge system within their curricula, aiming to provide students with more holistic and well-rounded education. This shift reflects a growing understanding that true cognitive justice, educational equity can only be achieved by genuinely recognizing and integrating diverse epistemologies into mainstream education. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Pandey, for your wonderful talk. We sincerely thank Dr. Pandey for his enlightening insights and scholarly contributions to this meaningful event. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Dear friends, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Ravi S. Stark, a senior faculty member and administrator at Atmiya University, Rajkot, as our plenary speaker. Dr. Tak serves as director of the Center for Total Quality Management, and he is also holding the charge of Head of Industrial Chemistry. A certified environmental auditor, he has worked with major industrial organizations including Reliance and Ultratech. His expertise spans industrial chemistry, environmental science, quality management, and sustainable industry practices. Beyond academia, he actively promotes human values and holistic education initiatives. We now present the plenary address by Dr. Ravi Tak.
Respected organizers, distinguished academicians, policymakers, research scholars, and my dear students. Namaste. It is both an honor as well as responsibility to address this international gathering organized by Vedant, aligned with the transformative vision of National Education Policy 2020 and the national aspiration of Viksit Bharat 2047. Today, I invite you not merely to reflect upon research, but actually dive deeper into research that we do in the research. It is done with the help of not how much we publish, not how much citation we accumulate, not how much conferences or how many conferences we attend, but whether our research is relevant, rigorous, rooted, responsible, and transformative. Because if a research does not transform a society, then it merely decorates our curriculum vitae or biodata. If we see the Indian paradox, let us begin with the fact that according to the research ranking which is globally done, India stands third in the world and in scientific publication output. We contribute 5 to 6% of the global research publication. This is not a small achievement. It reflects our intellectual energy, academic expansion, as well as institutional growth. But now let us examine the other side of the statistic. India's gross expenditure on research and development published by GERD is approximately 0.7% of the total GDP. Compare this with the other nations like Israel, whose expenditure on R&D is above 5%, South Korea nearly 5%, United States about 3.5%, China over 2%. How can a nation rank third in publication yet investing proportionally far less in R&D? Is this our extraordinary research efficiency, or this is an indication of research inflation? Are we producing more papers or proportionally fewer breakthroughs? Citation data further reveals that while volume has increased, impact per paper in several domains remains below global average. This is a paradox, my dear friends. Quantity is visible, quality is negotiable, and impact is inconsistent. And that is why we must research the research that we are undergoing. Let us honestly examine our academic research ecosystem. In many institutions, what research has become? It has become a promotion requirement. It has become a compliance checklist. It has become a mandatory for KPI. You all know our appraisal system, and it has become a ranking instrument. You know there are so many global rankings are happening, and they are mainly focusing on how much research output your institution has made, whether they are Scopus, Web of Science indexed or not. So research was actually meant to be a bureaucratic. Research was meant to be curious, courageous, creative, civilizational. If a PhD is pursued only to secure designation, that we produce degrees, not development. If a paper is written only to increase the impact factor, then we are chasing only matrices, not the meaning. We must have transition from publication to driven research or problem driven research, from impact factor to impact to the society, from quantity of output to quality of outcome. If we see the real examples, we can take example of artificial intelligence. We had AI Impact Summit organized by under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Bhai Modi ji. And if we see the AI impact on solid waste management, allow me to illustrate a real measurable example. India generates more than 160,000 tons of municipal solid waste every day. If we see the collection efficiency, it is around 70 to 75%. Scientific processing is very low. Now imagine integrating this with AI driven route optimization, predictive analysis, sensor based monitoring. Pilot implementation have demonstrated that 15 to 25% there is reduction in the fuel consumption. 20 to 30% improvement has happened in operations. There is significant reduction in the greenhouse gas emission. This is research that save public money, reduces environmental damage, it improves governance efficiency and advances our sustainable development goals like SDG 11 and SDG 13. This is not a theoretical publication, my dear friends. This is a research that breathes in society. And this kind of research that Viksit Bharat requires, and it is the need of an hour. Let us understand certain innovation ecosystem model that exists in our society. Let us examine another example. Let's say IIT Madras, over 300 plus startups have emerged from its incubation ecosystem. Deep tech innovations in electricity mobility, space technology, AI, artificial intelligence hardware, semiconductors. What transformed these institutions? Not intelligence, not talent, not infrastructure alone. The difference was ecosystem integration. When research connects with industry, policy, funding, mentorship, technology transfer that occur into the society in real sense, ideas become enterprise, university becomes innovation engines, research become economical capital of the nation. If we incorporate IKS, Indian Knowledge System, if its epistemic balance, if we see, the National Education Policy 2020 emphasizes integration of IKS in all domains. This is not nostalgia. It is epistemic balance. Consider, let us say, curcumin, which is found in our kitchen. Turmeric. Turmeric is a good source of curcumin. It validates for anti-inflammatory properties. I just recall that whenever this turmeric, curcumin is taken as a raw, it has an antibiotic characteristic. But when it is sorted, it has anti-allergic property. And when it is taken with sorted with ghee as well as some black pepper, then it is a marvelous medicine available. Ashwagandha, if we take, it is clinically studied for stress reduction. You know, nowadays lot of stresses, people are going through lot of stress. There are stress management institute available nowadays. Earlier they were not. So we have ashwagandha, herbs which is clinically proven for reducing the stress. Yoga, it is linked to neuroplasticity and emotional reductions. When traditional knowledge meets modern technology, methodology, we create knowledge with confidence. We shift from borrowed framework to our own native framework. To balance this all from intellectual property dependency to intellectual sovereignty. And this is essentially Bharat must become intellectually Atmanirbhar. Let us speak candidly. We face real systematic challenges. low industry funded doctoral research, weak patent commercialization culture, fragmented interdisciplinary collaboration, predatory publication pressures, evaluation system that rewards more consequences, institutions measure what they value, research produces what institution measure. If we measure impact, impact will grow. If we measure numbers, then but natural numbers will grow. But numbers alone do not build nations. Allow me to propose a simple evaluative model which I call it as 5R framework. First R, relevance. Second R, rigor. Third R, rootedness. Fourth R, responsibility. And fifth R stands for revenue and translation. If we see the first, relevance, does the research address the real societal, environmental, technological and economic challenge? This it has to answer. Second R, that is rigor, is our research or research methodology very robust, ethical as well as replicable? The third R stands for rootedness. Is our research grounded in Indian realities, climates, communities, markets, or it is borrowed from Western? The fourth R is responsibility. Can it lead to patent? Startups, policy reforms, if we see any gaps, scalable solution, that it is giving solution to the evils which are present or problems which are present in the society. So fifth R is definitely a very important one, in which translation will happen from idea to some actual solution to the problems happening in the society. If research satisfies this 5 dimension, it becomes nation building research. To become a developed nation by 2047, India must increase, first thing, R&D expenditure to at least 2 to 3% of the GDP. Strengthen its national research foundation. Promote multidisciplinary doctoral programs. Right now, the doctoral programs are mostly domain specific. Now it is a urge and requirement of an R that we need to go multidisciplinary as far as possible. We must encourage the patent filing and commercialization, embedded AI and sustainability across disciplines. Higher education institute must transform into innovative ecosystems, startup hubs, sustainable laboratories, value-driven research centers. Research must also align with national priorities, global challenges and local realities. This is must. On closing remark, let me conclude with the simple but powerful questions. If doctoral thesis is completed and no policy makers read it, no industry applies it, no community benefits from it, can we truly call it successful? Research should not slip into the libraries. It should live in laboratory, actively live in laboratory, industry, villages, startups and governance system. Let us not produce more papers. Let us produce more solutions. Let us not chase impact factor. Let us create impact for Bharat. If research becomes relevant, rigorous, rooted, responsible, transformative, then higher education will not merely support Viksit Bharat, it will power it. Thank you very much for giving me such time. I again thank the organizers, Vedant Knowledge Systems Private Limited, for giving me this opportunity and to interact and to share my views with you. Thank you very much again. Namaste.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi, for your wonderful talk. Our sincere thanks to you for your valuable academic and industry-linked insights. Thank you for being with us. The research presentations form the core of this conference. Scholars from diverse disciplines have shared their innovative research aligned with NEP 2020 and Indian knowledge systems. These presentations reflect the intellectual vibrancy and multidisciplinary character of this gathering. At the other hand, our respected session chairs have provided constructive feedback, appreciating the methodological rigor, originality and relevance of the research presented. Their guidance strengthens academic quality and encourages scholarly refinement. Moving forward, we shall listen to the presenters and session chair experts in parallel paper presentation sessions. As we conclude, I extend my deepest gratitude to esteemed speakers, Dr. Shailendra Pandey, Dr. Ravi Tangji, our esteemed session chair experts, Dr. Anubhav Kumar Prasadji, Dr. Madhu A.G., Dr. Archana J.R., Dr. Priyanka Mishra ji, Dr. Rushi Joshi ji, our researchers, organizing committee members, technical team, media partners and dear participants. This conference reaffirms our collective resolve to reimagine higher education, to integrate National Education Policy 2020 and Indian knowledge systems, and to work tirelessly towards the realization of Viksit Bharat. Thank you all. Thank you. Jai Hind.